Welcome back, everybody. We are into the losers bracket season 2 of Blood Rush League. This is round 1 where we see Rapture versus Imperial. We have Imperial's killer Mastermind on the Cold Tower 1 as he heads up top mid to check on his corrupt intervention. As we know, with the Mastermind, because of the not add-ons, the offerings, it is forced that the survivors are spawning opposite side of the Mastermind. So in first chase, with our Mastermind Ron, we have this is our Soma Cruz, who he decides to leave for our Claudette here, and finding the Claudette on this weak tile here connected to maybe a pallet gym, he might decide to commit. But again, seeing another survivor on the top middle gen will make him want to leave and apply a Rupture on it before committing the chase into the bottom side of the map, which is probably better for him because this is where there is no corrupt generators. But again, deciding to leave. Well, that was an interesting early game, and there was actually a bit enough going on that I wasn't able to introduce myself. I am Tavi, actually. For me, it is evening, and so this evening, we will be seeing a Shack pallet dropped as the Nia decides to run. Just run edge map. I was gonna say run topside, but Mastermind, again, needs his first down pretty soon. We're 90 seconds into this trial. We have not seen a single injury state, but we have seen 2 pallets dropped, and these were 2 pretty strong pallets. And that was an important tag missed because this is again another injury avoided from Mastermind. Mastermind really just needs something at this point because generators have been worked on and actually have been popped at this point. We see another dodge from our Nia player here and another break from our Mastermind. This is corrupt intervention completely run out without any injuries whatsoever. Now, tonight I will be solo casting, so it will be my voice that you'll be hearing this evening. And yeah, unfortunately, Mastermind can't even commit to the chase onto the Nia because this other generator is around 80% on the longboard jungle gym. We see Soma Cruz pre-dropping the pallet smartly and starting to run bottom, which I assume is where gens are not being worked because he does take the tag, understanding there's not really any resources left here since the Nia just used them all. So I would be expecting a quick down here. And yeah, it seems like they just want to run edge map and see if they can just die as far away from the generators as possible. And that is finally our first down that has been taken from Ron, our Mastermind player. Does apply a 10% eruption onto that generator on the normal gym, but this is really a really slow start for our Mastermind because our survivors have managed to keep the first chase going for so long and preventing the first injury from happening that actually this other generator and probably some others have been progressed sufficiently enough to pop pretty soon. And yeah, instead of tunneling out Soma Cruz, they're opting to go for some fresh hooks here, maybe try and get some pain resonance stacks. And we see the generator at 1 pop now. So we're around 2 generators in. If we also include the oh my gosh, what a nice tech there. But we also include that generator on the 9, we would say around 2.5 generators done. So our Mastermind player on getting our second hook of the trial, nearly 3 generators in. I'd say it would probably be looking for getting multiple fresh status out as we find our Soma Cruz on the main building, who will probably take the vault and decide where to go from there. Ooh, but actually pretty high ping there. I would assume that the Soma Cruz would have made the vault there, but good body blocking from our Jeff player, which you would not see ever in comp. Good body blocking does prevent the down happening onto our Soma Cruz. Important to note, he is death hook if he was to be caught next. So a little bit of extra pressure that the survivors would face, but really another 2 generators pop in the distance. So with 2 hooks in, and with 2 generators done, and the survivor seems to be on a pretty strong tile here. So this down here probably won't be happening anytime soon. That vault will just come in time. So our Mastermind player, again, will not be able to get the down onto the Jeff, which is huge because, yeah, again, these gens are flying and decides to leave the injured survivor, even with an infection stack as well. So heading back to Shack. We know there's nothing around here. Finds our Claudette. Probably just opting to get a quick down if that's even possible, but finding our Sprint Burst Nia actually instead. But missing a double dash yet again for probably, I'd say, the 8th time this trial. This is, yeah, again, I think maybe our Mastermind player is not confident or something, or these survivors are just playing unpredictably, but yeah, this is just not really how Mastermind sets should go. But yeah, we do get a down again, the 3rd down of the game, but that is the final generator done for the 3rd down. So if this hook is camped out, this will be 5 stages and 3 fresh hooks for our killer player, which is a bit of a rough result on Mastermind. So I would assume that they're looking for more, but deciding to go to the 6th gate and finding absolutely nothing here. So our survivors really might be able to get a 4-man out if... I was going to say if someone could pull, but no one pulled. So unfortunately, the Neo will be stuck on hook for the time being. And while our gates are being worked on, hopefully... oh my gosh, our Claudette was stealthing at the 6th tile the entire time, and it seems like Ron did find them and misses a tag onto them as the save comes onto the Nia. Oh no, this is really bad because the gate over on the other side of the map has just been opened. So we might be looking at a 3-stage result on Mastermind on the Cold Tower 1. Now, this is an impressive result. Even as our Claudette takes a tag, we have enough health states to make sure that everyone can get out of the trial successfully. So really, what a dominating performance from Rapture. But three stages on Mastermind is somewhat unheard of, I would say. Because this killer is just an A-tier killer and should be going for more, but this is just an incredible result. And the survivor is also showing a bit of confidence there. So we will be back with our next set, which will be Mastermind again on the Cold Tower 1, seeing what our Rapture killer can do to our Imperial survivors. Welcome back, everybody, to the losers bracket of Season 2 of Blood Rush League. We'll be seeing Rapture's killer now trying to get 4 or more stages against our Imperial survivors. We see Rion on the Mastermind breaking the first main door at the main building. He's already rotated topside, so trying to find the first chase onto our survivor, which seems to be the case. We find 2 survivors behind the main building. They're both deciding to play this pallet. I don't think this is the correct choice because our ace probably should be able to take an M1 or not, because Ryun decides to leave the ace instead, going after the Nancy, which I believe Ryun would have thought that there's no Godfiller here, but does manage to get the tag with the Unicorn Medallion instead. Now, this is a much earlier injury than we did see in our first Mastermind set, but the down doesn't happen on the throw, but with the Blood Favor, we'll manage to get the down anyway. So this is a much faster down than we saw in the first game, which it happened around 2.5 minutes into the trial when already nearly 2 generators were popped. So with 5 generators standing and 3 healthy perks, which will allow the generators to regress, Rapture will have to actually not have to do much. Sorry, the Imperial survivors will have to pull off some magic here if they want to take a set win or even just take a tie, because a 3-stage tie condition is kind of rough for them. As we see a fast pull onto our Nancy here, we still have not seen a gen done yet, so I'm actually curious to see what Ryun decides to do. And I think Ryun, maybe he just knows that he needs to get a few fresh stages here to secure a win. So maybe he'll just commit a chase onto any survivor he sees at this point. And seeing the scratch marks of our, I believe, Minato here around the logs, and this pallet being broken, I think he'll just try and take a free tag onto Minato and commit a chase. There's a beautiful dash and a throw as well coming out. This will mean that he does perhaps not make the main window if that is the case. And yeah, a good mind game from a Mastermind player will allow them to avoid the main window, and they're forced to play this Sin card now. And managing to get a M1 on the Sin card, doing a basic mind game there, I think it was a bit risky, but you know, it works, and a generator has still not popped here. And Nancy did... Okay, one generator did pop, and I'm assuming that another one would. from the progress of the survivors, I would say that they're doubling another generator, so another one should pop. Okay, Nancy has not been reset yet, only sprayed, if I'm not mistaken. So Renato would take the first hook, which is a pain resonance hook, and our mastermind player will be looking to get a pop goes a weasel on our 7 generator, which is around 50%, so decent value out of pop. And so they will be going bottom side where I'm assuming there's another generator as progress here, but our mastermind player disagrees. So we'll just be chasing after these scratch marks here, which I assume will be left by our injured Nancy, which is the case. So this is Nancy who has been hooked once. So they will be getting a bit of pressure if they were to get down on this Ormond tile, which is pre-dropped. So a bit of distance made here, and I don't know if this is the correct play from our survivors. Taking a hit, our ace decides to go to the main building while our Nancy will continue running around the Ormond tile as we see the next generator pop, which I believe was the 7 generator. So Bjorn not committing that generator, I think was a bit of a mistake. But again, with the win condition needed, which is 3 stages on 3 different survivors, this is a pretty safe way to play. And as they miss an important dash, actually, because if they manage to get this, this would nearly be the tie condition met. So they'll be chasing after Nancy yet again, seeing if they can get it down. Because, not being able to make the vault. Okay. That down was quite needed, actually, I would say, because it can actually snowball out of control if a down just doesn't happen. Killer can kind of get in their own head and then start missing a lot of important dashes and start making macro mistakes. So getting the down there is a nice little kick for Vyun, so he can manage to maybe keep the game going for the 3-stage win condition, because it's just going to be so rough on the mental, on Vyun's mental, if they were to lose a 3-stage win condition, and Vyun actually deciding to leave the chase because another generator popped, which is the hill generator. So we're looking at a 3-gen top side and probably 1 bottom side, but I've not really been paying attention to the generators because of the win condition, which is quite close to being met, because our injured Venato is in chase, who's been hooked once, but that's not really relevant at this point because they will not be taking him down, so the chase will be going on. But if this Venato was to get down and hooked, we'll be looking at a win for Rapture in the first set on the Mastermind on the Cold Tower. So, wow, Ryun is being quite indecisive here. Seeing the Sable on the 2 tile, which is quite weak. See if there's a live pop, which there is. So, I'm not really sure if our Sable will be able to run out the rest of the power, but that is a good start because that is a throw and not a that is a throw and not a grab, and is a throw into the opens. That means that no immediate health state will be taken. Now we have 4 injured survivors here, so they will be trying to pop the last generator, perhaps get the adrenaline to help them get the win condition. But again, the win condition is only 1 more stage required, as our Mastermind player does get the down onto Sable, who is fresh hook. But if they manage to get this hook, which I think they will be, that will be the win condition met for Rapture. So with this hook being taken and also a pain res, we'll be looking at Rapture taking the first set on the Mastermind. For the rest of the game, though, to keep it interesting, we'll just keep on casting and showing the gameplay, because no gameplay is no gameplay is worse than having gameplay. So a lot more interesting to see what this Nancy will do on the Ormond tile as the save comes in on the Sable. And we actually saw the 2 other survivors reset. So the gens haven't been progressed as much as perhaps at the start of the game, where we had a lot of altruistic play being made and then the gens being a bit ignored. But the double dash does miss onto Nancy here, so being able to preserve the chase a little bit longer, perhaps being able to reach the Ormond. No, okay, just taking a locker instead. So okay. So it's just down coming onto Nancy. I believe this means that she is death hooked, or maybe she's dead here, because she's already been hooked twice. So that is the first death coming into 2 gens, and our 2 survivors here, unfortunately. Oh, I was going to say, unfortunately, we'll have to leave the generator for it to be popped, but it does get popped by our Venato. So I'm not really sure what Mastermind player is doing here. I'm smelling out a main generator, which is only on 50%. So I think our Sable will be able to get picked up here for that generator pop. So yeah, but Okay, strange. But, you know, Vion actually managing to lose the ace here on the Orman tile. I think he just held W around main. Perhaps not. Actually, he's playing the window. And we saw the Sable had life, so this ace cannot have life. He cannot make it very far. After vaulting this window again, he'll just have to be playing 50-50s until he takes the eventual tag here. And then, again, we'll maybe just be forced to play this because there's nothing else around here except this palette and also that God Rock, which they would call it, because with low enough ping, it is a completely safe rock on one side of the vault. But actually managing to hold W away, perhaps predicting that our Mastermind player would go for a clip-worthy play, and I think does manage to make the God Rock here, which is quite big because at this point, maybe this last generator at main might be able to pop for this. Looking at the way that the Venato is playing here, playing altruistically, so maybe it's an adrenaline play to wait out the final generator and just waste time like that. But Viewin does leave now, smelling out that one of these top generators is being worked, and they do indeed see the Sable on the hill. And so that means that this one generator has progress, and so it's just going to get dry kicked now. So, okay, I'm yapping. Wow. Okay, but Ryun does manage to get the M1 tag through the power here, which is pretty big, but I think our Sable will just be going down in this case. But no, taking a nice dodge onto the double dash of our Mastermind player, but heading mid, there is another midfielder here. We see both the other survivors taking a reset in the distance, so that means they're probably still stuck bottom and not being able to work these topside generators. So our down finally happens onto Sable. She goes back on the hook. Now this will not be a pain res because she's already been pain res. I believe our last survivor which we need to get our pain resonance is our ace Visconti. So if we can find him, that will be another 20% of generators. Generator progress denied from our survivors, but we see our Venato at 5, so I think we know where all the survivors are now. So Ruin just wants to make a decision of what he wants to do with this information, which will be probably to camp the hook till the final death of our Sable play here. Knowing that the gens perhaps are not going to be progress as much as we see our ace actually just running off instead and our Venato running onto the other generator, which is kicked earlier at 1. So I think our Sable will just die here and then we'll be forced into a 2v1 scenario where it's very, very difficult to get a generator done. But I see our ace maybe going for a pull on the Sable. Ryun is a bit worried about this gen, but I think that was unjustified because that generator could not really have any progress on it. We see our Venato player actually punishing the mistake from our Mastermind player, taking the balance landing, but because of the Unicorn Medallion, I believe, which is an add-on which I failed to mention at the start of both Mastermind sets since both players ran it. Because of the Unicorn Medallion, I'm pretty sure that was a hit there. But again, our Mastermind player decides not to commit and goes back to the generator setup where he finds Ace, which is our last Fresh Hook survivor, which is needed for the pain resonance. But again, he is healthy, so this chase will last a while. So the decision now comes to the survivors of what they want to do. Should they reset or pressure the generators? And our Ace managing to vault again, maybe changing it up a little, taking a vault there, and does actually manage to avoid because of that. But he's forced to play this horrid matchstick style now. And I would assume that he's taking a 2-tap, which is the case. Now, he will take that tag and run Shack, but our last generator does pop for this. So, if this ace is hooked, I believe we're looking at a 9-stage result because of the 3 fresh stages available for him. So, that might wrap it up. But we see our Sable going in for an altruistic play because Sable is worth the least amount of hook stages in this spot because she's already on death hook. So if she were to be hooked instead of our ace player here, that would mean that our survivors would get 7-stage instead of 9-stage, which is actually a lot better if their win condition wasn't so extraordinarily difficult to meet, which was indeed 3 stages 3 fresh to meet. And Ryun here just needs to wait out the endgame collapse while our ace just, I guess, dies. And 2 other survivors probably should be resetting here. We see our Venato gets healed. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there are no self-resetting perks except in the strength. So it's likely that the other two survivors are away, but our Venato, with the time that the aces managed to delay, our Mastermind does manage to run in, but not well enough because the down happens onto ace anyway. Failing the body block does our Renato. So now he'll be looking to take a flashlight save instead if he can be found, because our Mastermind players completely lost him. No, okay, I was going to say completely lost him, but found him again on the God Rock where it was just broken. We know he has balanced landings, there's no sprint burst available, and he'll get thrown edge map. If Renato were to get hooked instead of our ace, this would be 8 stages available, and because of the change of Wesker there, there's a quite rare thing in comp now. Because of the change of Wesker, they actually don't manage to fly off the hill and body block Venato from taking the exit gate, but in that case, Venato will have to play the 5 tile anyway, not making enough distance to make it to the door on 3, and taking a vault there and managing to go into a locker, and perhaps this means that the Sable will get a pick up on ace, which is the case, and Rion actually dropping here. Maybe he thinks that he can go for a better result, since the only door that was open was the one at 3. So with anyone hooked at this point, they'll be looking at a minimum of 7 stages, and actually if any of them make it out, then there will be a minimum of 9 stages actually for survivors. That's a significantly better result, but managing to find the ace again. This is the entire point of the kerfuffle at the end game, was to actually get our ace, which is our final Freshhook survivor, meaning that our 6-stage performance will be increased to a 9-stage performance. That's 4 Freshhooks as our 2 other survivors leave, understanding there's nothing else to be done in this game. So Rapture Imperial, we are looking at a 1-0 result after our Mastermind sets. So we'll be back with our next set, which will be our night sets, where we'll be seeing Rapture's Killer versus Imperial survivors. Welcome back, everybody, to our losers bracket, where we have Rapture's Killer versus Imperial survivors. Now, Rapture is up 1-0 in this night set. So if we are looking at a Rapture win, it will wrap it up 2-0. So Imperial survivors are looking to take this one home, because if they don't, then they'll be sent home packing. So we're on the night here, managing to find our ace on the main building of Shelter Woods. This is actually a very strange map, since it's very imbalanced, I would say. The whole map itself is quite large, and the main building can get quite erroneously strong. Hold on, just strong. Because our ace is just going to be abusing it here. This is not even in the corrupt intervention territory, so we can just understand that the main building is such a strong resource that you just want to abuse it. And ace pre-dropping our Godfiller here won't really be able to make anything here, so I would assume they'll take a nice slice of that blade as we head towards the bottom side of the map, towards the corrupt intervention after we've been tagged. So our survivors hopefully are splitting the generators now. They've had a good 80 seconds to start the generators, but Ryun does know this. Ryun is our mastermind player from before. Ryun does know this and does send a guard out to the middle generator on the tree there. Does manage to tag Claudette, as I would say, tag with the flag of the mastermind. Sorry, not the mastermind, the knight. So catching Ace out here on the edge of this map will mean that the first down does happen as the first generator pops, actually. So I believe that generator was soloed. So this pain resonance will be applied to the middle tree generator. And so our knight is actually, I would say, looking pretty okay right now. Does manage to get... Oh, okay, and there's a second generator popped, actually. I was actually wrong. The first generator that popped was the one that the Claudette was on. So maybe that was double, I'm not sure. But the second generator on the edge of the map does pop. And because our Sable was found at Shakia, she does take an M1 for it. But I'm a knight player, sorry. I'm just so not used to saying knight. It's crazy. Our knight player does just send a guard back out to the hook, as we see a For the People play happen from our Claudette onto our ace. But that is, I believe, the assassin that is being sent out onto our ace. So that will be a bit more difficult for him to evade. So I will not be surprised if he takes power hit here, but it does not seem to be the assassin at all because that duration was quite long. Now Claudette does decide to greed and go down on this filler, but I don't think anyone's here for the pallet save because they should be working generators. So Claudette will go down, still while broken by the For the People that was applied on the ace. Nice use of the anti-tunnel there. But that is actually not a second pain resonance, which I think will be hurting our Knight player quite a lot, even though the pop is applied onto the main generator here. So now we're looking at, let's see, 3 pain reses available. Nancy with the card attached, 1 injured survivor. Oh, and that's actually the assassin hit that comes in on the Nancy. So that will be an additional mending time and additional reset if they decide to. And we find blood on the Shack generator, which will mean that I believe it's Sable. And actually, the Knight does... I don't know if that's a bug, but the power cancelled there. So it wastes a little bit more time for the survivors, a bit of a mistake, but does manage to get the tag onto Sable anyway for the guard. So I think if I was in the survivor's position here, I would be looking at trying to reset if possible with any of the reset perks available, because for this hook, I would usually try and get it before second stage, but unfortunately, Nancy does. This is not Nancy. This is Claudette. Claudette will hit second stage here, just behind the main building. So that is our first weak link of the game that has been taken. Because and our ace has actually found edge map, trying to go for the pull if the Knight overcommitted to another generator, but our Knight player does manage to spot it just in time, and our ace does run into our guard, so that will waste a bit of time for him. But whoa, what's going on? Ace just runs back into our killer, and Ace has already been hooked, so this is another death hook survivor which will be available for the Knight to tunnel out once they get unhooked. So actually things have been going a bit in his favor now, because we have 3 injuries and a hook onto our ace on the middle hook, which is actually probably one of the best hooks you could get a hook onto. As we see our Shack generator pop, that is 3 generators done for 2 death hook survivors. I think this is probably a bit of a rough spot for our survivors to be in now. Perhaps they played a bit greedy in the middle game to not reset the injuries, but I don't think it's paid off because only 1 generator popped for all those hook stages, which are 2 hook stages on a fresh and 1 hook state on a player who had been hooked. So now they have 2 weak links, as I was saying before. They would want to try and reset this injury. Okay, this is really not good, because Nancy is our death hook survivor, so they will just be going down on this tile, which had the somewhat high progress generator and pop applied to. Actually, hold on, no, Nancy's not death hook. I'm making mistakes, because our Knight decides to slug them. Of course, if they were death hook, they would just instantly pick and take the pain resonance, actually, because our death hook survivors, only one of them has been pain resonance, which is our ace. And our Claudette is still available to be pain resonance, as our Knight player does manage to find the triple reset of all 3 survivors. Does find Claudette and Sable running off, as our ace does, of course, try to take the chase because he's healthy. Extra health state will mean a lot. But Claudette does take the guard, and now I think we'll just die on the hook. I don't know why Ryun is always swinging outside. I'm actually not an experienced Knight player myself. I'm not really seen Knight in comp, so whatever he did there, it worked anyway, because Claudette did go down, and that will be our first death of the game. 2 generators left. I think he wants to try and get a pain res out of his death before Claudette dies. But yeah, being slapped back onto this pain hook, I believe this is not pain resonance. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that was a pain resonance all along, because I believe that was the same hook that Claudette was hooked on before, and they just died. And there's still 2 pain res stacks, not 3. So it means that she's already been pain resonance, as our Knight sends out the guard onto the edge generator, which does have some progress. We can see sparks flying from it. So someone has been on it somewhat recently. Okay, now Ryun does manage to find some blood from our Sable here. This is the unsafe 4-lane tile. Actually, all 4 lanes are unsafe, but really... okay, nice use of the guard there, managing to zone our Sable ward. to the edge map where she'll just go down, and Vyun again deciding to slug for a bit to try and pressure someone off the edge map generator before picking up and presumably getting a payload of this. Sorry. To mention, pretty much all 4 lanes are unsafe, but that, I believe, that one right there was the safest variant of the 4 lane, but again, it's still unsafe. Relatively unsafe if you compare it to like a jungle gym or so. Well, we'll see scratch marks on this other generator behind main. I believe this is the 11 tile. It has around 80% progress, so there's a lot of pop value that was taken. And our Knight player does decide to swing into the guard to cancel it because they want to send it out again to try and catch out. I believe it was the ace. I don't know what he's doing because he just saw the ace just going straight back towards the generator. So it's a bit of a mistake there. But our ace does take the guard anyway as our generator and the edge map does pop. So that is the last generator, which is just, again, just behind main. She has around maybe 50% progress now. And I believe that's really the only progress that the survivors have because main was on nothing and that one was popped. That one right here, which Nancy was running by, was just popped and didn't really, seem like much progress at all, maybe 10%. As our Knight will just send out another guard onto our Nancy here. So our ace probably is going to be looking to get the unhook here or trying to pressure the generator. So right now we are at 6 stages, going to look like 7 soon because of the second hook stage that our Sable will be forced to go to because our survivors are not actually playing quite efficiently here. Nancy tries to get the unhook there, but our ace is also in chase with the guard and might not be able to be able to evade the guard hit, but it seemed like Knight player disagreed and thought, okay, I'm just going to M1 him right now and just down him. I think I would also agree with this play, I guess, since the down was close. Close enough to the generator with high enough progress, but actually deciding to slug. This is a death hook survivor. I'm not sure why he's slugging here, but after checking the generator and making sure that it wasn't being sneakily doubled, now he decides to. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I guess if they manage to get the generator done, that would be huge for them because they would also be able to avoid a pop goes the weasel on the generator if it was done because the gen's done. So pop goes the weasel is available anyway, and Vyun also does just go for the close hook here. So it will be a pop probably applied to this generator as we'll see the 2v1 now taking place with 1 injured survivor, 1 healthy survivor to see what they will be able to make of this situation. We do see Nancy at main actually trying to go for the generator again, but that means our Sable probably is far away pressuring this other generator here, which I would assume is on around 30%, taking the pre-drop on the Godfiller pallet. This is the last pallet in the area, apart from the edge map one, and we're deciding to play this out because there's nothing left here. But our Sable again takes our light on the window, running towards forced to run towards the generator with the progress, which is unfortunate for them because our Knight player will now just take a free guard onto the surrounding area of the generator to waste around 10 to 20 seconds of Nancy's time as he resumes the chase onto Sable, doing a bit of a cheeky mind game on the main building, which does work out slightly, I would say. But they do manage to make this, I presume it's a gold palette, but I've actually never played this map enough to be sure if it is. I think it is one. So just be waiting for the guard to come back, perhaps, and then send that out, and then she's probably dead. Oh my gosh, okay. Never mind, that is a swing and a hit from Vyun because that down just happened on that pallet, so it's, I guess, not a god pallet. And so you just send a guard out. I don't think the last generator possibly be popped anymore because the generators just don't have enough progress for the Nancy to be able to work any of one of them freely and get it done. So I think it would just be a clean 4K1 unless this Nancy can not be found, which is unfortunately not the case because the Nancy scratch marks were just seen running towards, I believe that was Shaq now. Was Shaq? Kind of. Okay. Kind of Shaq. Okay. Towards the 4-lane setup that we saw the Sable take the down on before. And there's no pallet here as we know. So just be looking at the final chase as our Nancy just goes down, trying to unzone herself, trying to make the pallet, but that is not the case. So the result now will be 4K1 or maybe 4K1 with 11 stages if our Sable Ward cannot be found. Because if our Sable Ward has used has managed to crawl away from main, then oh, then it would be a 4K with 11 stages, 1 generator left. But Sable would just, instead of falling away, decided to stay under the pallet. So it would be a clean 4K1 for Rapture's killer here. I'm actually unsure myself if this is a strong result on the Knight, but knowing the Knight being quite a weak killer to altruism, I would say that it is a performance that Imperial has to put on to manage to meet the win condition that Rapture set, because we'll be going into our next game to find out if Imperial's killer can do such a thing. Yeah, so yeah, okay. Welcome back, everybody, to our losers bracket of Blood Rush League Season 2. Now, we'll be looking at Imperial's killer now, playing the Knight again on the Shelter Woods versus our Rapture survivors, seeing if they can get a 4K1 to tie the score or to get a 4K2 to win. So, we'll be loading in, seeing our first survivor at main, but deciding to leave to go to the tree generator, which is quite commonly spawned to go for. I believe this is our Jeff. No, this is our Gabriel player. Quite rare pick in comp, as they pre-dropped the Godfiller tile and managed to go to the jungle gym, actually greeting the pallet now. So this is a good amount of time wasted. Around maybe 40 seconds into the corrupt, and actually our Knight player here, which is funnily enough called Knight for this instance. So our Knight player will be leaving the chase and going towards Shack. We see our Claudette go towards the window, perhaps trying to play it out while the guard is in play. However, I think this will be a tag that happens quickly, but our Claudette does just hold W away, and our Knight doesn't really spot that. So Claudette will be able to unzone herself for quite a decent amount of time, but I'm actually not sure, because this is one of the longer lasting chase cards at this point. And so they'll be taking a hit, I think, either from the guard or from our Knight player. It might be a 2-tap. What unfortunate timing there for the Knight, because that whole chase was revolved around trying to get a tag or a down on the Claudette, which just did not happen, because our Knight, unfortunately, the power just ran out at that specific moment. So our corrupt intervention will pretty much just go to complete waste here, as our whole corrupt has pretty much gone without any injury from the survivors and only 1 pallet dropped. So this is quite a oh my gosh, and the first generator pops. This is quite a perilous situation for our killer to be in, trying to get it down quickly. Remember, the win condition of our killer is 4K2, and they actually lose the survivor on this long wall jungle gym. I don't know what just happened there, but again, this is so much time being wasted on just every part of the map, and so our Knight player will really have to get something going here, because at this current moment, they're looking at a really, really bad spot. Yeah, and that's 2 generators down. That is an extremely bad spot for our Knight to be in. Our Gabriel, understanding that our Knight is close, just takes a tag from the guard, and they'll just be playing Shack quite safely until the guard again comes back. But understanding the guard is back, we'll be holding W as the chase has happened, and yeah, he'll just be going down from the guard. But again, it's just such a faster down than before, and okay. That flashlight save happened, I would have lost it, because this is such a terrible start for the Knight. And if that flashlight save happened, it would be even worse, because 2 generators popped for our first hook, just not even painers, because they've gone for the basement hook. So no painers regression available for our Knight here, and no pop either, because they've chosen to take Sloppy Butcher and Devour Hope over what our previous Knight was. Our previous Knight had taken, which was Agitation and Up Goes the Weasel. So they're really looking to try and snowball everything with the Sloppy Butcher and try and hit the survivors with the surprise Hex Devour Hope in the back pocket. But really, with how the game's going, with only 2 generators left for the survivors to complete to meet the win condition, I'll say it's quite difficult for the perks to get a lot of usage. But Ada does take a more tags, so at least there'll be a Sloppy Butcher applied. Hey, and perhaps a Painless if the Knight decides to commit, which seems to be the case, because Ada is forced to play Matchstick style here, and actually running back to Shack, which is just where the unhook happened. So we know that there are 3 survivors around Shack at this moment. So I'll be surprised if one of them doesn't go down at this point, because it's only really a matter of time before one of them does, which is the case, because our Ada takes the knife to the back, and we see Soma go for the flashlight save again. I respect that, but okay. they get a gen done for it. So, okay, fair enough. From our Soma, he was already in the area getting the unhook onto our Gabriel, so it's not too bad that he tried to go for the flashlight save, but perhaps his tenacity that Ada has, I'm not entirely sure, because he managed to make it back to Shack Pallet for a potential pallet save, which did not happen because the two survivors in the area are injured, and that's another generator popping. So we're looking at the tie condition met with 2 hooks in instead of 12 hooks in, which was the case before. So this is not really the position which the killer wants to be in because it is only 1 generator left before the Rapture killer, Rapture survivors take the set win, and it will be a win for them overall because they're already 1 point up in a best of 3 match. So our knight has to really pull off some magic here. They want to try and stop this last generator from popping, which we can see is a pretty horrible 3-gen setup. We have 1 generator all the way behind main and then 2 close, which doesn't really matter because you can just pressure 2 generators at the same time, being apart, like completely apart and away from each other, and you would still get the win as long as one of them pops, because again, that's the win condition. 4K0 is a win condition for the survivors, and we get to unhook onto our Ada here in the basement. So we know at least one person's here, and then there'll be the Claudette over there, and Ada just got unhooked, so she's at Shack, and so our final survivor, which is our Gabriel, is nowhere to be seen, which means that he's doing a generator. Oh, and our knight does manage to get a guard chase onto our Soma, but is the healthy survivor, and not our Ada, which is injured. Who, again, this chase will be quite important if they can get a payments here. Perhaps they can prevent the generator from being done for a little bit longer. But Ada just holding W towards this this jungle gym, sorry, that I was gonna say is gonna be pre-dropped, but does not seem to be the case because Ada just does not drop it at all. Scared of the knight's power, so we'll just be running back into the knight and taking it down instead. This will be the first pain resonance of the trial though. So that is the only upside for the knight in this current situation, because everything else is going completely wrong for them. We see a fast unhook onto the Ada as well. Oh my gosh. So knight, yeah, just perhaps just waiting out BT or waiting for the guard to come back. We'll send out the guard now to try and find the unhooked survivor. Actually, there are 3 survivors in this area, so I don't know what's going on. I guess they're just trying to keep the Ada alive. Which I guess is not a bad strategy because, oh my gosh, Ada was in a locker for head on with the flash, with the firecracker, while our last survivor, which is the Gabriel, does the last generator of the trial. So this will be the win for Rapture, taking a 2-0 against Imperial here. So it's up to Imperial to see what kind of result they decide to walk away with on this night set, which I think will be around 5 stages because our Ada will get down here from the knife. We see our, I think it was Gabriel, let's call that, hovering around, just, you know, baiting out flashlight, which is the case because our Soma is here, presumably with a flashlight, but they could have swapped items. So our Claudette could actually be the one for flashlight at this current moment. And both of them managing to avoid getting tagged, which is quite important for them. But Soma does take a knife to the back because he does get found with the guards. And I think this will just be a clean book here, but I'm not sure if anything special will happen with... no. Okay. So I think we'll be looking at Rapture taking the, I believe, 4 stages out of the door here against Imperial's killer. What a dominating performance from Rapture, I have to say. They take a 4K, what's it? 4K on the Mastermind set. Oh my, I've already forgotten. But managing to body block our Soma. So this is again not great for the survivors, I would have to say. But Soma does head towards somewhere, maybe trying to reset with the Gabriel, which actually is the case. Gabriel just holding W away. Now Gabriel has already been hooked, I think. So this would increase the stages to 6 stages and 2 freshes. So it's slightly better performance for the survivors if the Soma was hooked. But he does go down on a pallet, which again, our killer will have to be wary of a potential sprint burst from our Soma Cruise if it comes in, but does not come in. So I think this will be a 6-stage result. Okay. looking back on what just happened, so we had a 3-stage game from our survivors on the mastermind set, and now we have a 6-stage on the ninth set. So just really completely dominating performance. If they decide to go for this unhook here, it'll actually be 5 stages. They managed to get everyone out of the door, or potentially, but Rapture has won this series 2-0. No matter how many survivors do get out of the door, they're just playing for show at this point and for best result, because playing for best result is always not a bad thing, because always try your best, I guess, in comp. But that will be it for tonight. Wrapping you up with Rapture's 2-0 victory over Imperial. I've been Tavi, your caster tonight, and I'll see you all later with the new game.